Joining us here at 11, I'm Gabriella Rusk. Former President Donald Trump is holding a campaign rally in Waunakee in just a few hours. This stop for former President Trump is the first time a Republican presidential candidate has stopped in Dane County to campaign since Bob Dole's presidential run back in 1996. Our Brooklyn Andrews is live inside where this campaign rally is taking place at Dane Manufacturing. Brooklyn, the doors opened about a half hour ago. Looks like there are plenty of supporters there already.
Yeah, good morning, Gabriella. As you can see, lots of supporters. They're actually completely wrapped around the building. I want to step out of the way so you can get a better look at the crowd size here at Dane Manufacturing in Waunakee. This is where the former president will be speaking at 1 p.m. today. You can see the lines kind of moving up a little bit. Doors were set to open at about 10:30 this morning. As you mentioned, this is the very first time Trump has ever visited Dane County, and today he's expected to speak on the economy, which is one of the bigger ticket items for his campaign. He's also expected to speak on agriculture today here as well. Now, I spoke with some supporters earlier to see what they are hoping to hear from the former president today.
We are a country of working people, working class people, and we need to get the manufacturing back in the USA and stop this migrant coming over the border.
And like any presidential rally, roads and streets are expected to be closed. There's some delays, temporary closes. The village of Waunakee issued a warning earlier today that those roads may be delayed from 11:30 till 4 p.m., but I would maybe even add an hour each direction as these crowds are pretty big. Now, Wisconsin traffic was saying that maybe the interstate might have some temporary closure later in the day because after here, former President Trump is going to head to Milwaukee for another rally at 5 p.m. We'll check in a little bit later in the show, but for now, I'll send it back to you in the studio. Gabriella, live in Waunakee, Brooklyn Andrews, WMTV 15 News.
Brooklyn, thank you. Yeah, possible that we could see that motorcade come through Dane County into Trump's visit when he heads to Milwaukee. The other side of the ticket also making stops to Wisconsin today. Actually, second gentleman Douglas Emhoff will be in Milwaukee speaking about Vice President Kamala Harris and her economic plans. And then on Thursday, VP Harris will be back in the Badger State herself. She will be in the Fox Valley area. This marks her second visit to Wisconsin within the last 2 weeks. And ahead of the former president's visit to the Badger State, Governor Tony Evers released a statement through the Harris campaign. Governor Evers calling Trump's time as president a, quote, disaster. The governor adding, quote, I know Wisconsin families and they're going to reject him again in November. He goes on to say that Vice President Harris is the only candidate in this race fighting to lower costs, cut taxes, and invest in Wisconsin's future.